Right, Coach. If you could take us back a year ago, you're 14-1-2. You've outscored the opposition 153-33. The world shuts down. How have the past 357 days or so been, and preparing your team for a season unlike any other?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. It was certainly disappointing. I certainly would have loved to have seen this team have the opportunity to play out what they started. We certainly made the best of it. Our administration has done a great job getting us back onto the field now, and we're preparing. We're not looking back, and we're preparing for what's ahead of us.
Great, and as I mentioned, the dominating of the oppositions, 14-1-2. You're returning all but 3 players. You're a national ranking of 8 in the latest NCBAWA poll. Your expectations must be high, heading into this season.
Yeah, certainly. It's if you look at last year, and that's what you base the preseason rankings on. But as anyone knows, that and $1.19 will get you a cup of coffee. You got to go out and play the games. The thing that we've talked a lot about is that this is a completely new season, a new year. It's hard to duplicate exactly the way things were going, because it was much more than what our record was. We had a group that was very cohesive. People fell into their roles. So there was a lot of other intangibles that went along with that start last year, and every team is different. So those intangibles are the unknowns, and without a preseason and kind of getting started and jumping right into conference play, we're certainly prepared. We're excited for it. We're humbled by the ranking, but we know we have to go out and play.
Sure. As a unit, the pitching staff had a 2.01 ERA, held opponents to a 140 batting average. Cam Voss returning, Chase Nowak leading the way. What have you seen from your pitching staff this offseason?
Yeah, we're excited about our pitching staff. I think those 2 frontline guys, there's not a 1 and a 2. It's a 1 and a 1A. And then as we fill out our pitching staff, we're relatively deep, and that's something in this conference. You can never have enough pitching, and then with the COVID situation, you never know who's going to end up on the mound. So we're preparing everyone. We're certainly deep. We've got some guys that threw some quality innings for us that we're going to use out of the pen, and Brent Francisco is going to jump into a starting role out of the on the weekend, and it looks like Connor Johnson will be the number 4 starter coming out. But we're deep. We need guys to go 3 or 4 innings, and we're going to this is a pitching staff, and our pen is we feel like it's a real quality bullpen, with the 2 Gaidos brothers coming out of the bullpen, and some of the guys that we added with a Tommy Reisinger and a Scott Shimani, and J.P. Nolan has progressed. I can go through the list, and we're certainly excited about the pitching staff. And in this game, we're certainly known for our offense here at East Stroudsburg, but the pitching's going to take us where we're going and where we want to be.
You just mentioned the offense, hit 347 a year ago. Returned so many talented players, Brock Hoffman, Carson Freeman, to name a few. So what are your expectations now for your hitters for this season?
Well, it's offense is something that certainly can come and go, and we're certainly a well-rounded offense. So if we have a day where we don't necessarily swing it so well, we can do some other things to score, and we certainly run the bases, but with the amount of guys back, we certainly we're going to put some pressure on our opponents, and that the goal is pressure every inning, with our speed. That adds another component that other teams have to worry about. Everyone knows we don't bunt much, and that's fine. But we do other things that they have to prepare for, and the goal for us is we need to out extra base hit teams. If we do that, we feel we're gonna win the games. That doesn't mean home runs. That just means extra bases, and we certainly have guys that do that, and we've been successful with that approach, and we'll continue with that throughout the year.
Great, and you mentioned a few already, but obviously the talented roster. How do you see? Do you see any newcomers making an impact year one?
Well, there's certainly this freshman class. They've dealt with the same things that our players that were here last year, and the COVID senior who's back. So this is probably overall the most talented freshman class that we have. The fact that we've got so many guys that came back that we expected to graduate, we're certainly not going to see that impact from those guys that we would have. But that doesn't mean that they're any less talented. We've got Jerome Rapetz that's going to swing the bat for us and get an opportunity. Tommy Reisinger's a real quality arm who will get on the field. And then we have a bunch of other younger players that are going to take a role off the bench that will have an opportunity to have an impact. We've got 3 middle infielders here that are so talented, and we got some power guys that, unfortunately, because of COVID, they're just going to need to be patient. And but that doesn't mean that when you look at the amount of guys on the field and we're older, that this class isn't talented. This is in my 14 years, when you take this group as a whole, this is the most talented group of freshmen that we've had enter into East Stroudsburg University.
Awesome. And, obviously a limited non-conference schedule this year. ESU should be going head-to-head with the PSAC majority of the season. I guess, can you talk about the strength of the conference within Division II?
Yeah, well, the strength of the conference and is, we've got teams that get to the World Series, and certainly that's our goal. But we've had the PSAC East and West. We send teams to the Conference World Series, and and they have an opportunity to win and have won. And so the PSAC East, I describe it as you can, in a 4-game set, you can play extremely well in all 4 games and lose 3 out of 4. It's that difficult. A ball that lands fair or foul can be the difference in whether you win or lose. It's the competition is that great, and so in football and basketball, bigger, stronger, faster usually is going to win. In baseball, it's not that way, and so the more versatile you can be on offense and the more depth that you have, certainly gives you the better opportunity to be successful and develop that consistency. And I think. You mentioned, limited preseason games, and as a coach, obviously very happy that we're older, but that's where you start developing some consistency, and baseball's a game that you need to play. Practice is great. We've been able to scrimmage. We're fortunate, with our turf, we've been able to scrimmage twice in full out 9-inning games, and to develop that consistency, you have to play. And that opportunity certainly isn't there this year.
With high expectations, what are some of the goals you've set for the team, and how does ESU accomplish them?
Well, our goal every year is the same. You certainly want to win as many games in the PSAC East as you can to get into that into the tournament, and then. Once you get into the tournament, anybody can win it. It doesn't matter whether you finish 4th or whether you finish 1st. When you're in, you can win that thing. And then get to a regional and then see where that goes. We haven't been to a regional in a few years, and we'd certainly like the opportunity to get back there. But we don't in this program, we don't focus on wins and losses. We focus on those other things, some intangibles that lead us. That we know if we do them, that will lead us to wins. Over the years, there's times you get too focused on whether the scores and win this game, win that game. Whereas, if you focus on some of those intangibles that lead to it, it certainly lessens the pressure on certain players.